Well, hello everyone. This is Mark Allen in Bellingham, Washington with yet another Bicycle Bellingham video. We're going to talk about two intersections today, Lakeway and I-5 and Chestnut and the new Granery Avenue on the waterfront. Here we're on Grant Street coming to Lakeway on a really nice bicycle facility, the Green Box. We have a push button and a walk light to cross Lakeway. Normally, this is right turn only, and the road is blocked for vehicles except for bicycles, so we can go ahead and take a left here as long as there's no oncoming traffic on Grant. Here we're going eastbound on Lakeway. Please note, these lanes are narrow, so it's strongly advisable to occupy the entire lane, and that is doing so by riding your bicycle in the center of the lane. That encourages drivers to take the next lane to your left to pass you and not to try to squeeze past you. Very important here to stay in the middle of the lane. The cars wanting to turn right will have to wait for you. Now we're going under the I-5 bridge. Please note the very narrow sidewalk. It's strongly advisable to take the lane and go with traffic. That bicyclist is doing the right thing. He has to be very careful. We're continuing to head east on Lakeway. Again, being very careful not to squeeze to the right. Keep to the center of that lane and continue to encourage those drivers to wait until the adjacent lane is clear before trying to pass you. Heading westbound on Lakeway is more tricky than coming eastbound. First of all, you need to be aware of this right turn only lane at Lakeway and Lincoln. If you're going straight on Lakeway, you need to stay in that first through lane. Do not merge that right turn only lane unless, of course, you want to head northbound on Lincoln. Here you want to be behind the blue car, not the white car. Moving along, we're going to continue westbound, but remember to stay in the center of the lane. These lanes are quite narrow. One thing I love to do when I'm riding the bike in a situation like this is to smile and wave my hands and give peace symbols to everyone. Here we're coming to Lakeway and King, which is very tricky because the I-5 northbound traffic comes onto King Street and wants to come in from King Street on your right to Lakeway. There is a dedicated right turn lane, as you can see, just beyond that island. Drivers there often don't even slow down, let alone stop. Here we're taking another look at it from the sidewalk. Look carefully. You can see the island and the lane beyond. Now we're looking up King Street to the I-5 off-ramp. Following around, you see the dedicated lane, and yes, there is a yield sign, but no, drivers often ignore that yield sign. A way to try to mitigate the danger is to walk across the sidewalk with the walk light. Seek refuge on that island. Then walk across that dedicated lane. Continuing on, we're going to stay in the center of the lane. We're about to head under the I-5 bridge. Like the eastbound side, please note that the sidewalk going under that I-5 overpass is very narrow. It is safer to be in the traffic, staying in the center of the lane. That way, of course, cars will be forced to pass you in the next lane over and not try to squeeze past you. Here's the next nasty intersection. This is the I-5 southbound off-ramp coming on to Lakeway. Again, you have a free right for those cars wanting to go westbound. This is dangerous as well. Here we're looking up the I-5 off-ramp. Now turn around and look at Lakeway on the perspective of cars coming off. Please note that, yes, that light on the very right, that's a dedicated right turn light. Like any light, you are allowed to take a right turn after a red. I highly suggest that the state put a no right on red at that light to force the cars to stay. Also, follow my finger. The curb line should follow my finger, and then follow along that crack in the road and get rid of this easy right turn. That is very dangerous. So once again, the state needs to please put in a no right on red at that intersection. Here we're continuing westbound. As you can see, I'm waving, smiling, and giving peace symbols to everybody, doing as much as I can that I am seen and reminding people that I am there. I will sometimes sing songs I make up as I'm riding my bicycle. Now here again, please note the lanes are narrow. You need to stay in the center of the lane. We're at the intersection of Lakeway and Holly. Here, when the light changes, you need to stay in this lane to the center line of the vehicle travel, which means you need to stay about 3 feet to the left of the dotted line. Don't try to merge to the right, as you'll be blocked by these parked cars. You need to force the traffic to use the next lane as you are passing you going down Holly Street toward downtown. We are now heading towards the next intersection, which is Chestnut and Granery. That intersection, by the way, is not on the current Google Maps because it is brand new. That's an interesting place. That is part of the work going on the former Georgia Pacific property, where they used to have the paper mill, or what people here call the toilet paper factory. There is ongoing development going on there. They are redeveloping the Granery building as well as creating a new park, but they propose housing and other buildings on that vast acreage of land. Granery Avenue is a new street, which, by the way, has Bellingham's first protected two-way bicycle lane that you will see later. One of the things they did was to create a new bridge for Chestnut Street to go over the Burlington Northern Railroad tracks. Unfortunately, that bridge is a bit narrow, and they recently had to remove the dedicated bicycle lanes and create the 2 lanes, that is one in each direction, as a Sharrow lane, with Sharrow shared by bicycles and cars. You need to take the lane to yourself, meaning ride to the left to the center of the lane, as I'm doing here, but it is much more crucial there than right here, as you shall see. We're going to show you that area as well as a very, very brief foray onto the dedicated two-way bicycle lane on Granery Avenue, as well as Bellingham's first dedicated bicycle signal, which, by the way, are quite common in Seattle, but Seattle, of course, is a much, much bigger city. Here, we're about to turn right on Chestnut Street and head down that hill towards Granery Avenue. We're now on Chestnut. Here is a Sharrow symbol. That means you need to treat this lane as a traffic lane, and you need to stay to the center of the lane to encourage drivers to wait until the next lane is free. Here we are at Bay Street and Chestnut. Here the lanes are going to get very narrow. It is crucial you stay in the center of that lane. On this downhill run, please note that the bicycle lane has been officially eliminated, creating an entire Sharrow lane, sharing between drivers and bicyclists. By the way, here's the first dedicated bicycle signal. I'm going to show you that a little bit later. Here now, we're going to come to the continuation of the bicycle lane where it's safe to move over and let cars pass. Here's a shot of a bicyclist taking the center of that lane and forcing the cars behind the bicyclist to wait until they can pass or until the bicyclist can move over to a bicycle lane where it would be safe to pass. Now we're going to look at the uphill side. This is going southbound on Chestnut, coming from the dedicated bicycle lane to the Sharrow lane. Signal and stay to the center of that lane, forcing drivers to wait until it is safe to pass in the adjacent lane. Very important. Here's another shot of a bicyclist coming up the dedicated bicycle lane on Chestnut, and then signaling and moving over to the left to take the entire lane, forcing that driver to wait behind him. This is where it's very important, otherwise you'll be crowded onto the curb and the sidewalk. Here is the dedicated bicycle signal, the only one we have currently in Bellingham. It is used to cross Chestnut to get onto or off of the new Granery Avenue. Here I'm going to move over to that turn lane. By the way, that is turn only. You can see the gate preventing you from going straight. I'm going to press the button, then wait for the dedicated signal, which is right there. When it's safe, it will turn green for bicycles only. And here is the only protected two-way bicycle lane. Let's hope that this is a trend that will continue on in other locations here in beautiful Bellingham, Washington. Thank you for watching.